Yeah, interesting move by Orlando Pirates Football Club that they've released Bandile Shandu. I think it's always been one of the players who represent the value of Orlando Pirates. What I want to say basically, the integrity of the team. He's a well-behaved player. He's known that he's very, very one of those players. He's got a good personality. No bad stories about him. No, like the behavior basically. No discipline problem. That's just what I want to say. Welcome to NXL 360. My name is Nadim. I'm with 1010. I think people's gonna join us. I'm not sure who's gonna join us. Just in case you join us, obvious. 1010 is very clear. Well, your former team, this is like more like looking at your new signings at Orlando Pirates. Your former team, obviously, have signed Kampan Lungu and I think the interesting one, obviously, Zulu from Richards Bay, cited defender. What to take about the two new signings that have been signed for Orlando Pirates? Obviously, we've already spoken about them, Tetele, them Tian, and Bohale, so we can't really go back that much. But I'm interested, 1010, what is your view of the new players that have brought in by Orlando Pirates?
Yeah. Hi, Nadim. It's a very interesting move, Nadim. If you look at the signings were Pirates, but they are intentional about what they are doing. I think they've looked for a left center back for quite some time. They tried the boy that they signed from Marumo Gallants, but he hasn't found his place in
Yeah, Mpopa Chabatsan, yeah.
Tabata. Yes. So I don't think ukuthi Umpho has closed the role le eshiwe uMbokazi, you know. So that's why they went for uZulu, Richards Bay, because the boy has been playing consistently. And last time I checked, I think he played more than 18 to 20 games. So uyabona ukuthi he's a key figure, or he was a key figure at Richards Bay at the back. And he's only got 2 yellow cards. He's clean. So they want somebody also valale role there, because you look at Orlando Pirates, how they've been playing. They've been playing now without a left-footed center back. With their center backs, they are playing with UCBC and they are playing with Unto.
Yeah, they've been playing with Siema and CBC Central.
Yeah, UCBC and Siema.
Yeah,
So
CBC's been more like central left-footed, yeah.
Yeah, and it have a limiter when it comes to the build-up play, move ibolo easily. Because when you have a left center back, I think it's easy for you to can operate and move from each and every angle. When you build up from the right, you've got to CM, but when you build up from the left, UCBC is not comfortable with using his left. So now they saw the need of replacing Mbokazi with a natural left-centered center back. Tabatsane at Marumo Gallants, he played most of the games as a left back as compared to him playing as a left center back. So I think that was the challenge for Uwadu to use him as a left center back, because he's a natural left back. And when you look at Ulungu is a very, very, very key figure. Yes, previously with SuperSport. He's banging goals for them. He's quick. He can take players on. He can also come back and help in defense. So they are not sleeping in the market. They want to make sure they sign the best players from the teams that have them, and they are able to go and sign to strengthen up what they have. Because there's no way Ulungu will come to Pirates and sit down. I don't think so. You know, maybe there's a possibility Raitoma Raifeta might not come back after the World Cup, or Apolis, and they are weighing those options with who they are replacing.
Yeah, definitely. Apolis and Pokeng are living, definitely living after the World Cup. They're leaving Orlando Pirates. I think
So
some of
that's
the
what-
signings, some of the signings that you are seeing, they will be replacing those kind of players.
Yeah, and I think that's why they went to Isiwelele. They signed the young boy, Umwato, to replace both of their wingers. Njengoba usho ukuthi when you are confirmed ukuthi they are leaving. I haven't seen anything confirmed, but they've been one key figures. And Mabasayina Ulungu and signed that boy Umwato, bayakubonisa ukuthi they want. And the nicest thing about it, even when you look at the left-footed center back Uzulu, he's young. I think he's 22. He's not only for now, but also for the future. They are not only preparing for the upcoming season, but they are also preparing for the other upcoming seasons. So yeah, it's interesting signings, definitely.
So with Sibangani Zulu, is it? I mean, you can see from his age. Hey, people. Yeah, nice one, people. Thanks for joining us. So people just started the show. Orlando Pirates have signed 2 new players that they actually 4. It's Mteteleli Sibangani Zulu, a left-footed defender from Richards Bay, as well as your camera's off, people. Yeah, so People, I don't know if you've gotten a chance to check the players that have signed by Orlando Pirates, and what's your take on them?
Jeez, Joshua Nadim, 10-10 uGrand.
How
Mnandi,
grand ugcoke ijezi le-AC Milan. George Weah.
Ronaldinho,
Sadlala George
Ronaldinho.
Weah.
Awungiphe lona ntana yami. Okay, lona. Yeah, Nadim. I don't know, man. I saw the signings, and well, we can go from the first signing, which I think is Lungu from Siwelele. My question is, was he signed as a winger or as a striker? You know, do we need a winger? If he's signed as a winger, do we need that kind of a winger at Pirates? If he's signed as a number 9, do we need that kind of a number 9 at Pirates as well? So, you know, I'm not running away from his capabilities as a footballer, you know, but is he someone that's going to deliver for Orlando Pirates? You know, I'll put a question mark on that. The midfielder from Stellenbosch, I think he's a great player. I think he's a great signing. I've seen that McKestany maybe has a couple of more seasons to go. I think he'll be a great replacement. And I mean, he's going to a team where he's going to have a familiar face in Dooley, someone that he played with at Steelers. So I think that's a great acquisition for Orlando Pirates. And the other player, the centre back, I mean, the one from Richards Bay. Wait, I'm not sure if he's also signed as a centre back or as a
Yeah,
defensive.
he's a left-footed centre back. Yeah.
No, Nadim. He's not a left-footed centre back. I've watched that boy. He's not left-footed.
Is he a what? Right back?
He's a right. Well, I've seen him play as a defensive midfielder for when he played for Tenteni Tlapaka Mamkize. Because they signed him from there. That's where they got him from before he went to Richards Bay. So, but I've also seen him play as a centre back for Richards Bay, Nadim. So I am not sure if you are signed as a centre back or also as a defensive midfielder. So, and then if he comes as a centre back, I mean, there's still Sasane, there's still Siema, you know, as right centre backs. There's still the captain as well. So where is he coming to fill in? Maybe, I don't know. But what's the other player? There's 4. Did I mention 4? Yeah, I think that's 4.
Yeah, there's another one. Is Bohale is the
Oh,
winger.
yes. The young
Yeah.
man from Siwelele. No, I'm
Yeah.
excited. That one I'm really excited about. I've seen that boy play when he was still playing for Super Sports. Very young, left-footed, talented left-footer. More like Ngota type of player. He's got great technique as well, great kicking abilities, got great skill. I mean, look, he's coming to a team probably maybe to fill up big shoes that are going to be left by Relay, you know, or Police, you know. So much will be expected from him. I've got faith and belief in that young man. I think that's a great signing overall. Yeah.
And then people, so if you are saying Kampane I think that's very interesting. And I think the Paris fans also will want to know with Kampane Lungu, is he signing as a winger or as a striker? Because for me, I've got a problem if you sign him as a striker because he doesn't score enough goals. And 2, you can't release Mabasa and replace him with Kampane Lungu. And the whole season, we've been saying Pirates need a strike. So where do you think are his strengths, basically?
Look, he's got speed. That's one thing that I've seen from him. He's also strong. You know, he's not a weak player. But, you know, look, Nadim, and Tenten maybe can attest to this. There are players that are players for Pirates, Chiefs, and out. And when you look at him, you're like, this one can play. And there are players that will always be players that you feel like can play for a super sport, a vet, maybe golden arrows, you know. But also, you know, look at Dion Hoto when he came to Dion Hoto when he came to Pirates. Not a lot of people gave him a chance, you know. They looked at him as a one-dimensional player, no skill or whatever speed, but look at him, you know. So also with this player, I would say probably on the wing, you know, for speed to help with stability, you know, I don't know. But as a forward, I'm not so sure because signed for SuperSport, he was a striker and they actually converted him to being a wing. So that on its own must tell you that he's not really a prolific scorer, goal scorer like Mawata, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting one. I think can we say, starting with you, 1010, can we say these are quality signings that have been signed by Orlando Pirates? Pirates are better with them before we go to the outgoing players. Can we say these players will improve the squad of Pirates? Because I've spoken to a lot of different coaches. They always believe if you recruit, you must always sign players better than what you have. Just like Real Madrid now. I think they're going to put an offer today of Olis or someone better than what they have, better than the striker that they have. Are Pirates bringing players better than what they have? Because if you sign Zulu with Sesana at one point in time 2 seasons ago, I thought it was the best defender in the league, wasn't Bafana Bafana. Are they improving the team or more like signings just to have a lot of numbers?
Yeah, look, Nadim, with Uzulu has been playing consistently with the Richards Bay, and to get to a point, Gabibo, I would say yes, they used him as a midfielder sometimes, which gives you an advantage. When you sign a player that can play more than one position, you are guaranteed that you have a quality player in and you can use him as best as you can or you see fit. Because coaches, they tend to look at players and they use them where they feel good, they fit in their system, their style of play, and all of that. I think he's going to be a great addition to Orlando Pirates defense, because he's been the key played center back at Maritzburg. Whether he's using the right foot or the left, I actually thought he was using the left. But if he has played Richards Bay more in the left center back, I think they are looking to replace Umbogazi because they haven't really found a perfect replacement with Chabatsane and not meeting up to the expectations for him to be starting. Yes, they still have quality center backs like Abu Sesane. He came back from the injury, but he struggled for game time. Even when UCBC at some point, he was not playing when UTLB was playing. But Usesane could not come and compete for that position and take it and make it back his own like he did. He owned it. We don't know the next season how is he going to come back, but then he is going to compete with a player that has been playing regularly, So it gives that player an edge, and Usesane comes back from an injury, which is an advantage for the boy Zulu. And when you look at Ulung, Magafika Super Sport, maybe they tried him as a striker. I don't see him profile as a player that can become a striker. Yes, he's nippy. Sometimes they use players that are quick, none. But he became more effective for SuperSport when they started using him as a winger because he's got a great ability in taking players on. Aksulo, Ozo Dribula and Showboat. If it means Melal Kashelele Pambele, Akshiye, he's that type of a winger. And he was scoring from SuperSport days. He's a player, you need a winger that has an assist and a goal. And he has that. And you saw Isiwelele, how they were without him when they started the season because I think he started from recovering from injury. And then he came back, he got his momentum. That's where he's the one that scored. I think he scored a hat-trick against Mamelodi Sundowns, right? When they lost. So he's a player with a capability. He can give you goals when you need the goals. He can give you assists. And he comes from a team like SuperSport, a team that believed in crossing and all of those things. There's no way that he could be consistently played as a winger and he does not have an ability to cross from SuperSport. So he comes in, he brings a lot of variation. If you're going to need crosses from him, he's going to supply. If you need a goal from him, he's got a goal in his boot. If you need him to take players on, to use the pace and torment the fullbacks, he's got that. But I don't think they've signed him as a striker because ability, I don't see him as a player that can play with his back, towards the opponent's goal. He's more of a player that needs to receive a ball or space in, he takes people on, he runs, he can bring in. So those are players that I think are going to improve Orlando Pirates. And the reason why I'm saying that, because they are key players. Umwato wasn't playing for some time with Isiwelele. But when Isiwelele needed points where they were in the brink of competing or fighting relegation, you saw that boy, as young as he is, left-footed, fearless, strong. He's got a great acceleration. He can dribble and take players on. And for one, I'm going to repeat and say, I trained Nesiwelele and I saw that boy. The boy, trust me, is quality. And he doesn't only have the capability of playing as a wing. You can use him as a number 10 as well. With the height that he has, but I think he's got a heart of a lion.
Yeah, interesting. So do you agree, people, that these players are improving Pirates, are quality players, they will make Pirates better than what they were last season? Meaning now Pirates will win 4 trophies because last season they won 3. So with them, it means the Pirates will win 4 trophies. That's how you improve a team, people. Even you as a team owner, people, I'm sure when you are bringing players, you bring players better than what you have, right?
Yeah, I think definitely you bring players that you have better than what you have, or like for like, same attributes. And abanye uyambona ukuthi okay, within isikhathi nje mangafika kwi-environment they'll probably improve and then uzofika kule level abayifunayo. So yeah, I do agree they are good signings, Nadim, especially the young man Ongwato, he's still 20 years old. So by the time I figure out 22, I'm sure he's Buyela Poland. Question mark 10-10 with the centre back. I haven't really seen much of him, you know. And like you said, the good thing is he's versatile. Yeah, I think he can also play as a right back as well. He can play as a central midfielder, as a centre back. So yeah, I think wherever the team needs him, he'll surely put on a good show for the team. Yeah, Nadim.
Yeah, interesting, guys. I think on my side, I think the player that I find him very interesting is Kamban Lungu. He looked like was the best player at Swelele. He's been playing there. I mean, it's Swelele now, but it's Super Sport United anyway. We know that. I think it is really, it deserves that kind of a chance of going to a team like Orlando Pirates. I mean, even people, when he was at Free State Stars, you can see, like, we talk to Steve Kombela. I'm going to do an interview with Steve Kombela. I'm very excited. Like, you know that people, like, he just needed to leave Free State and go to a team like Orlando Pirates or Kaizer Chiefs. But I think he's one of those players who deserve to play in a bigger team. But there are a lot of players who joined Pirates with high hopes. It didn't work out. Will it work out? It's from Zambia. Zambian players are known to like women of concentration, like Augustine Mulenga. I don't know, because there are players from Zambia. Talent is there, but off the field, I remember this guy used to play Iskatongo's brother used to play for Sundowns. I think I was a bit younger then, so I used to see him in lots of these nightclubs where I stay. I was staying in Northgate. But Christopher Katongo's brother used to play for Sundowns. I think in Zambia there isn't decent nightclubs or decent nice places. So immediately they come to South Africa, those players lose that kind of concentration. Felix Katongo, exactly. Yes. Felix Katongo, even I used to have his number because he used to come and say, yeah, he used to drive in his car playing for Sundowns. You'll never see him playing flat. Everywhere you'll be. Yeah, he go to strip clubs. Obviously, I'm a Christian. I don't go to strip clubs. I go to church. But I used to see him like in lots of places like that. With Kampan Lung is going to play for Pirates, that means obviously it's going to get more money than it's Swele. Yeah, style will be an issue. If he focus, I don't know, destined to make a difference to Pirates. I think players like Zulu, they will fight hard to stay at Pirates. And even, I think it's an interesting signing because defensively, Pirates, they've been very strong. They conceded only 12 goals this season. It means they just want to be strong, as 10-10 is saying. And then you've got him Teteleli. Teteleli 10-10, I'm not sure. Is he replacing Makaula? Himself said if Pirates win the league, he's going to retire. What does it mean? Does it mean Makaula is retiring as Orlando Pirates? Because for me, it looks like the deal, because I've heard that Sipombolo is going to join. It looked like it's a swap deal. Pirates have sold this swap. But who's this guy? Mbule to Swelele. Yeah, it looks like Mbule is got. Sipombule is gonna join Swelele, because I saw Gayton McKenzie on Twitter praising Sipombule from nowhere. This guy is not in the Bafana. He's not been playing regularly. Gayton McKenzie was praising Sipombule from nowhere. It's very clear that he's gonna join Swelele, Sipombule. I think that's what's going to happen. So, yeah, 10-10, yeah, maybe that could be the question from you. Do you think Sipombule will make a difference, since he's also leaving a difference at Swelele, because he's joining Swelele? That's what's going to happen. They can lie and say he's going overseas, he's looking, but at the end, he's going to join Swelele. That's what I know. So what's your take about, do you think it's a good signing for Swelele? Sipombule, knowing what we know about him at Orlando Pirates, because his career, we can't say he failed, but we can say discipline failed him.
Nadim, look, if Usipombule happens to go at Siwelele, for me, I think that could be a better place for him to silence the noise, focus in his football, and remind the people what he's capable of. And the reason I'm saying that is, for me, Isiwelele, it will feel familiar. Yes, there's been change of ownership, change of management. There's some individuals probably that have left when it was called Supersport, but it still has that taste. You know, the foundation of it, it's Supersport. And this is where Usipombule established himself as a master chef, like South Africa, as everyone is calling him. So him going back, for me, if it happens that he goes back, he's going to a place that feels like home. You know, you always know what they say. There's no better place than home. Maufiek, you know the environment, you know some of the people, they know you, they know how they got you to get to your best, where teams were fighting and wanting to sign you. So if it happens that he goes to Isiwelele and he's going to be going to a coach that took him on loan when he was on Sundowns to Cocoon. So probably there is a bit of understanding. He knows how to manage him. He knows how he can work and deal with him. I feel it's a place that should ground him. It's a place that should give him a reminder of saying, listen, this is where you started, or this feels like a place where you started from and you've established yourself to be a household name. You know, the only thing will lie with him, whether he wants to be remembered of his capabilities that he can produce in the field of play, or he wants to be known with the news that are circulating in and around to say he's ill disciplined, he's drinking, and all of that. So sometimes when things are not working out outside, the better place to go back to reestablish yourself, it's home. And that would feel homely. You know, it's just interesting, Mauti. They sold him to Zwelele because we saw Pirates announcing what is a free agent. They thank him for his services. So, but I think it would be a right move for him if he goes back. Whether we don't know what Zwelele will stay in Joburg and travel to go play, or they will finally move to be a Bloemfontein. And we as abantu base Bloemfontein, they love football, Nadim. The nicest thing is that abantu base Blom aphumile ama-out they don't mind ama-support Bloemfontein Celtics to back shy, you know. So there could be control if Isiwelele does move to Eplom. When the team is not doing well, they are the first to come where you guys are training and make sure you understand you are not only putting the team into disrepute, but the supporters as a whole. That's a environment that needs football and that needed football because they love football so like wholeheartedly. It's one of the province where you find a lot of the communities in and around. They have the green and white t-shirts. More than you see the t-shirts are gold, black and white, yellow, and all of those things. You see the green and white. So it would be perfect as well if Isiwelele does eventually move full on to be based at Blom. It can work wonders for.
Yeah, I don't know, Tenten, if I agree with you, because Sipombule's problem is not anything else, it's just disciplined. I don't know if changing a seat like Bloemfontein, because if you go to Bloemfontein, there's a lot of these women from Kimberley. You know, these women from Kimberley is like colored. Oh, they are very beautiful, bro. And Eastern Cape. So I don't think it helps. People, what's your take about it if Sipombule joins? I'm not really saying 10-10, they sold him outright. I think it could have been a discussion. Give us Kampan Lungu, and then we'll make a way for Sipombule. We're not going to renew his contract. We'll make a way for him to come back to you. It could be that kind of understanding between Orlando Pirates and Suwelele. That people, what's your take on Mbule if he end up because Mbule has left Pirates, obviously. I'm speculating. Actually, I'm not even speculating. I'm saying based on what I know, he's gonna join Suwelele. What's your take on that? Will it be a good signing? Because now it's official. We know it's not a gossip. He has left Orlando Pirates, Sipombule. They gave him a chance. There were so many stories, obviously, we touched on in the last episode with 10-10. What we take about him being released by Pirates? And maybe also, people, you can touch on the other players that have left Pirates today. If you didn't check them, as Bandile Shandu, I'm sure you know him well. We're talking about Master Chef now. Sehofatu Mabatsa. I think a lot of women, spoken to a couple of fans, especially ladies on TikTok, were doing a TikTok live. They're very, very angry that Pirates released Mabasa. It's not even fun. Then we've got Kim Boot. Obviously, Kim Boot was expected. He's in Israel. I mean, the fact that he was loaned, it means they no longer needed him. Then we've got Gilberto. Of course, no one can be shocked that Gilbert. What will talk about the Mbule likelihood of joining Swelele and the players that have been released by Orlando Pirates?
Nadim, whichever team Mbulo signs for will be a good signing for them, you know, whether it's Siwelele or any other team in the PSL. So now, but the question is, how long is he gonna be consistent for in terms of performance and just being there for the team as well? I don't know. You know, a lot of things has been said about him. We don't know how true that is, you know. I mean, there's always two sides to a story, Nadim. Bangati, Nadim didn't play this game because he came to training and only to find you had a knock when and something was booked inside. You never know. So, but
I think it's true. I think there's an element of truth because there was a time where Pirates played Castric FC and then his car was at Carlswelt in Midrand. One of my guys lives in Midrand. He knows him. He saw him. He went to shake his hand. He even told him that, don't tell Nadim that you saw me. Please, don't tell Nadim that you saw me here. He was drunk. It was around 3 a.m. So I think it's a fact with Mbule. So yeah, I think that one is a fact.
Okay, no. All right, now I hear you, Nadim. I think for sure na corner, you know, when I am a believer, but also I'm not sure is. But whatever issues that I think he
There's
has.
still a video in the morning again, the same place. And there's still his car. There's still his car that was there, and there's a video that he took him when he
Yeah.
was there in the morning. You still don't believe him in the video?
No. I believe in that. I believe you. No, you have call up wrong. So I don't know, Nadim. In terms of change of environment, if it's gonna work for him, I don't know. It's up to him. At the end of the day, Nadim. I think when he was at Sundowns, there was times where he played some good football, and we saw glimpses of him again, but not for too long again. Did he maybe get some help to whatever he was going through at Sundowns? I'm sure they did try to help him at some point in time. The same thing at Kukune, we saw that. The same thing at the Pirates now. I don't think they threw him under the bus if he was going through whatever he was going through, you know. They probably reached out and said, hey man, if there's something that you are going through, we can help you. And maybe it didn't work out. And if he is going to Siwelele, and if we think maybe whatever it is that he's going through and the environment is going to help him, the supporters or the technical team, or because he's going to be familiar with some of the players there and management, I'm not sure, Nadim. At the end of the day, only Sipho will decide when he wants to play and when he wants to be consistent. I don't think there's any coach, any manager, any player, you know, that can make him want to do what he's supposed to do. Only him. So yeah, that's my take on that. And I think on the players that have been released, Shandu, not really surprised. I had a word with him the other day when we played a friend against them, and you know he's been unfortunate. I think he started off well his Pirates career. He played really well. He put in some numbers for the team. He was just unfortunate the last 2 seasons, I think, with injuries. And yeah, big ups to him. I think he passed as a Pirates player with flying colors. And Kimbuidi, talented player, unfortunate not to get minutes at Pirates. It was evident that they were going to release him. So good luck to him as well. Gilberto, quality player. I remember when we played against them when I was at Cape Town City. We played his team, Potro, yeah, the one from Angola. We played them in the Champions League and he gave us the torrid time. Talented winger and very unfortunate not to have played for the team. And also good luck to him. Mabasa, look, man, at the end of the day, this is football. You know, everything has to come to an end. You know, I think you played your part as an Orlando Pirates player, quality striker, so many beautiful memories created. Man, put your head up and good luck on your future. Yeah, so I think that's all from me.
Yeah, 10-10, some question from people. What's your take about the players that are released?
I think Biwa has said a mouthful, man. Ushandu, like a natural right back, you know, the olden days type of right back that you know what he's solid. He doesn't give you those fancy things in going forward, but you know what you've got a solid defender, a solid natural right back. Injuries just hampered his stay for Mena. Pirates, because that's when you started seeing Orlando Pirates signing Abo Libit, Abo Van Rooyen, because he was recovering from injuries and then he plays 1, 2, 3 games, he's out again with injury. So it's just unfortunate, but it happens. It's football, you know. People come and people go. And when you look at Gilberto, he was an exciting signing for Orlando Pirates. The entire Angola celebrated it because he's a superstar that side, I think. But it did not work out for him at Orlando Pirates. Probably the environment just did not suit him and they could not use him. Hence, he was out on loan at some time. But if it did not happen...
Sorry, 10-10. The environment, are you saying, is it the lifestyle or something else? What environment?
When I'm saying the environment did not suit him, Nadim, I'm specifically referring to him as a player. He could not reach his full potential at Orlando Pirates. He could not play as many games as people were expecting to see him play. He could not be at the best that Orlando Pirates signed when they saw him. That's why he could not see. Then the environment did not suit him. I don't know his lifestyle. I've never heard anything about it. So I can't really touch anything when it comes to that, you know. So I think he's a good player wherever he's going to be.
Yeah, 10-10. Sorry to interrupt you. I knew, you know, when he was signed, I was at Metro FM, I think with Andy then. I called the guy from Angola. The lifestyle price bad of that guy. He's very talented, like people saying, but what I get at, immediately when Pirates have signed him, they said one is a short-tempered person and off the field. You see even his hairstyle. I mean, he thinks they just said he's a promising player, but the lifestyle, that's what I heard from an Angolan journalist. That's an interesting part with him before he was even signed, because Pirates paid a lot of money to sign him. I think that could be a contributing factor that 6 months was enough for Pirates to loan him out and never, because I don't even think he get a fair chance as a Pirates player. I don't remember him starting at least 2 or 3 matches. I don't even think he was given a chance. For me, it looks like also off the field could have been a contributing factor for Pirates to sign him in August, then in January to loan him in Angola, then 2 years later, they are releasing him out permanently.
Yeah, look, when you are being signed, wherever that you are a superstar. Like you're saying, Guti, you've contacted journalists that side and they told you about the behavior, temper. You come also maybe bearing expectations, guaranteed to play, which is something that we do wrong as players. We feel entitled to be filled, and then we forget to work hard for our time to be warranted in the field of play. It could have happened when he was signed. He was already a big name that side, and maybe he came with the expectations of Orlando Pirates have spent so much money for me. That means I am going to play. I am supposed to play. And when that happens, then the temper, it leads to whatever that maybe might cost his stay at Orlando Pirates, and they could not take it. And remember, Orlando Pirates is a big institute. It's an institute that managed to sign a bigger player than Penny McKay, but he was so humble to know, Guti, I have to don this jersey and still give the results. He did not come with the expectations of Guti, I've got a Champions League medal, so it's a must, I'm going to play, and even if I don't train, even if I don't perform, So I think that should be a great example to use to say, if there's players like Penny McCarthy who've donned the Orlando Pirates jersey, even after winning the Champions League in Europe, it says a lot about the institute on its own. So players must learn from those and not have expectations and continue working hard. That's the only reward they're going to get from that. And when you also speak about Tutsego Fatso, what a striker, Nadim. Tutsego Fatso, he's a sharpshooter. I think he knows how to position himself as a striker. He knows where to be, when to be, and how to
Is it
finish.
true? Before you go to South Africa, is it true that Pirates released him because they don't want him to overtake Benedict Vilakazi's record of 58 goals?
That's news to me. Like, I don't think Uguti there could be a team that would do that. Because at the end of the day, Utsego was Orlando Pirates player. Benedict Vilakazi was an Orlando Pirates player. So if it means Utsego was going to surpass Benedict Vilakazi's record, he was going to do it donning the Orlando Pirates player. They were going to have an Orlando Pirates player's new record. I don't think I want to believe such rumors. Does not make sense for me.
Look, 10-10, Vilakazi scored 50 goals for Orlando Pirates. So 58. So Hoffat scored 50. So he needed 8 goals to surpass And then people on social media are saying Pirates didn't want him to reach. That's why he was loaned to Stellenbosch. And that's why now he's being released permanently, because even though they feel like it's unfair that he's being released because Mbutuma we all know is not better than Tseofa Tsumabasa. So the question is, why is he being released? Okay, I'm going to come back to people. That's the same question, guys, I want to ask you before I come.
No problem, Nadim. And listen, I think it's somewhat unfair for people to say what they say, but they are entitled to their own opinion. Everyone is entitled to his own opinion, and we cannot judge people's opinion. We just have to make sense of whatever that you believe and whatever that you see as an individual. And the reason I'm saying that is because Utsego was not only loaned now when he was on 50 goals. At some point, Tsegofatso Mabasa was loaned to Roka Swallows, and he proved to still have a capability, was scoring goals as well, and they called him back. So now to speculate and say they released him because they don't want him to I don't think so. But it's whoever's opinion, and they are entitled to it. It's theirs. But
okay, why do you think it's being released? Because we know when he left Pirates to join Stellenbosch, even at that time he had the best scoring record more than Mahopa and Butum. Why is Pirates releasing him?
I think the right people to answer that question, it's Orlando Pirates for me.
So I'm asking your opinion. You played for Pirates. You played football at a high level. It's your opinion as a football, as Pratique would say, as a football lover.
Okay, opinion yam as a football lover, as a person that played football, that's playing football, as a person that supported football before turning pro. I think looking at Orlando Pirates strikers and looking at Utsego Mabasa, probably the system kicked him out, Because you look at the signings now they are looking for strikers that are quick, that are speedy, that can chase. Utseho is not that type of a striker. He's a striker that needs people to work for him around him. So it seems as if like the system is no longer suitable for him. They don't see the benefit of having him in and around in that position, because you look at Umahopa. Umahopa is a striker that chases up and down. You sometimes find him in the box of his own defending. Umbutuma, as much as he's not scoring a lot of goals, as much as he's missing a lot of goals, but he works hard for the team. He chases defenders down, even if it means he has to chase a player to his own half, he is going to do so. And Utseho is not that type of a striker. Utseho is the one who knows how to position himself in the box, but maybe they are changing their way of looking into their striking department, because they have their own philosophy, they have their own plan. And with time, plans change. There's improvements in whatever that they want to achieve as a team.
Ipo, why do you think Pirates is releasing Fatu Mabaso? Do you think Pirates will need to sign a striker after it's officially now that he's out on loan? Because we saw him with Mbutuma and Mahopa. I think the whole season they both scored less than, I think, 11 or 12 goals, both of them combined. I think they didn't do well in the league. We can't say they did well, obvious. What do you think is the reason, people, before we close, that Pirates released him?
Nadim, like Tenten said, I think only Pirates can tell you that, and only the TD maybe, or the head of recruitment. When I sign my player, I think maybe they'll give us a good answer. But from where I'm sitting, Nadim, look, social media, chaos, records are there to be broken, regardless of who breaks them, especially for a team like Orlando Pirates. Ubani umuntu break records of Pirates, but an Orlando Pirates player. So I don't think that is true. And yeah, I think also Tenten touched a bit on the fact that it did this clear evolve, Nadim. Kanamanje, a lot of teams that want to win the league, they want to press up high, Bafuni strikers in the energy that will press the whole day and still be able to run and go score at the same time or be in the box like Utentana Shield. So maybe it's the way Pirates say Funuga approach game in our corner. We don't know that. But I still feel like if I was whoever at Pirates, I wouldn't release a Tsakopache over Mputuma or, anyone else. I'll still have him there just as a backup striker or as someone that, I'm a game of finding. Yeah. 8 different teams we can make out, and the approach shouldn't be the same, especially if you look one-dimensional. Strikers is one way. And then you understand 10-10. But yeah, Nadim, there could be a lot of reasons why I'm releasing him. And if I was Orlando Pirates right now, get in a market, get a sharpshooter, get someone that's going to be on double figures every season. Get a Brian Leon if you have to. To get a goal, because they create so many chances, Orlando Pirates. But the number of goals that have been scored by them, it's still a problem till this day. That's why I start to celebrate Abu Leslie and all those other guys, because no to get into double figures as a number.
Yeah, okay. I didn't hear you properly. You said, which striker do you think they must replace Mabasa with?
I think Meleba.
Fiston Mayela.
I think that's the guy that they should. But I mean, even if Peter is available, why not? Get him on a short-term contract, maybe 1 season at a +1. I don't know. Obviously, maybe they don't look at the age, but I feel like Peter still has, something that he can give, especially to Laka.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Peter Shaulile is no longer a number 1 or number 2 at Sundowns, or number 3, because they've got Leon, Motiba, and Reynas. So I think that could be a good option. For me, on my side, I think those players who have been released, I will say with Mabasa, I can't say it's unexpected. That is obvious. The bit like, it's not nice seeing a guy like him, because when I say it's not nice seeing him go, because he wanted to break the record of 58 goals. I think there are other issues why he was released, because in the previous episode, we did highlight what happened with him before being loaned to Stelis. One will feel it means Pirates will go for a player who's better than him. And the player who's better than him, I think, as you guys say, you can't always go with the one-dimension football that you're always pressing. In some games, you need a guy like Mabasa, obviously. So just like one will say he did well for Stelis. I mean, he was scoring key goals, even scored against Sundowns, that penalty. That also led Sundowns to be frustrated and all those kind of things. If football is like that, the players come and go. I think Mule being released by Pirates was expected. Shandu been hearing a lot. I don't know why it was always been Shandu is leaving. I think it's always been a non-secret that Chandu is leaving. But with Kim Wood and Gilberto, it was really expected again. They were even out of the country. I mean, the other one is loaned in Israel and the other guy is in Angola. With Gilberto, maybe, I think there were problems with him off the field because one would say he never got a fair chance, and two, people you just call them in Angola and ask, is he a good player? Before they even answer you, hey, the lifestyle, they were telling you about the lifestyle. I think the lifestyle, because we are staying in Johannesburg, where it's a bigger city than, what is an Angolan capital city, guys? You travel a lot. I think you know. So it's a bigger city, Johannesburg, than Angola, I think. So you feel that was the reason. So as you rep, guys, your last words on the players that what's your take, what's your feeling Bafana is playing tomorrow or Thursday? Maybe what's your take, what are you looking for? I mean, obvious one Bafana to beat Mexico. Starting with you 10-10, then people, what's your take on Bafana's opening match? We can't run away from it and focus on the new signings of Pirates or the players who are leaving and act as if we don't know in the country that Bafana have a big assignment against Mexico at Azteca Stadium. This is the only stadium in the world that has played the final twice of the champion of the World Cup or the opening. It's going to be a record. The only stadium with 300,000 seater. Mexico, the last time they lost there, it was 2013. Obvious, I'm not saying Bafana is going to lose, but Mexico in the last 8 games, they've not lost a match. They've only conceded 2 goals. In the last match, beat Serbia 5-1. Before that, they beat Australia 1-0. They also drew with Portugal 0-0. They drew with Belgium 1-1. It is what it is. Bafana, the last time they won, they've not won a game, Bafana. Whole 2026. All the matches they played this year, even from the AFCON against Cameroon, lost, Panama, lost, Americans drew, drew. So, 10-10, starting with you. Maybe a quick review before we wrap about Bafana tomorrow. And the preview at the end, 10-10, please, it must have a score at the end.
Yeah, Nadim, I'm actually worried, to be honest. You know, one, you look at our legends, they went there, they got 5. And two, we played with Jamaica and we drew, and the clips were leaked, you know, and you could obviously see the approach if that's the starting lineup or Hugo Broos is going to start with. It's a good starting lineup, good players that we have in the national team. But if we are going to struggle winning a game against Jamaica, and we're going to face Mexico in Mexico, where Mexican will be highly filling the stadium up. Probably it's not going to be an easy one. That's my biggest worry when I'm looking at this game and looking at the previous games as Mexico and how they've been playing. You see the determination, you see the hunger to want to win, you see the mind games that they are playing, because what are the chances South Africa was playing behind closed doors and jiggy, there's leaks, there's a video where Bafana play. It would have been nice also to see Bafana win against Jamaica. You know, it would be a confident booster for the boys, but also it gives them an edge as they are the underdogs in the group. But I'm really worried at this point. I don't see us beating Mexico. Maybe with the other two, we can learn from the game that we are going to face in Mexico and we can take it from there. But I've watched Mexico play. They have a firepower. They don't really have that much exciting player apart from the 17-year-old, of which Magangena as a sub, you see what he does. He is fearless. He takes players on. He creates. Of course, havoc. You look at the strikers that they have experience. The other one is a top goal scorer. He was going pound to pound with Cristiano Ronaldo on that other side. And they also have Raul, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he hasn't been sharp ever since he got injured, but he plays a vital role.
No. It's been very impressive, actually. He scored 10 goals this year alone for Mexico. 10 goals this year.
So
2026 alone. 10 goals.
That's where my worry is, Nadine, because when you look at the history of Mexico, they're not a team that you'd hear a big hoo-ha or have high expectation. But one thing I would draw from it, they are fighters. They fight till the last end. And now they'll be having the support that's going to be pushing them. Hence, I'm worried. And probably if I have to predict, I see us maybe scoring 1, but there's a high possibility that we can lose a game 3-1.
Yo, 10-10. I hear you. And it's difficult to disagree with you. It's difficult. People, what's your take on them? Give us a quick reaction before we wrap up Bafana Bafana. On my side, I think it's a very tough match. Yeah, I won't lie. It's a very, very tough match between Bafana Bafana versus Mexico. But I'm hopeful 10-10 because Bafana Bafana once played Morocco. In that game against Morocco, the same team that reached in the World Cup semi-final, Bafana Bafana managed to knock them out of the AFCON. I'm hopeful. On paper, Mexico are better than Bafana Bafana in all
Sorry,
angles. But
Nadim. Sorry, but that team that got into the semi-final, it's not the team that we played. Some of the players, yes, were there. Or we can even say most of the players. But after we've knocked them out, that's when they've started picking up. So they've learned from the loss and the upset that we've caused for them. And they did not look back.
yeah, okay, no, 10-10 is difficult to disagree with you that because now they've been having players, yeah, like Diaz, and Diaz was not even there. I can't say you're wrong. People, as we wrap, my brother, please just give us your quick preview of Bafana Bafana. As a former Bafana Bafana player, what do you think is going to happen in Mexico, Azteca Stadium? The game is going to play definitely on Thursday, 9 p.m.
Sorry, Nadim. Why people was not there in Mexico?
I was not part
For
of the World Cup squad.
even say someone was not there. I think his relationship with Gaten McKenzie needs to improve.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, because someone was not there. People must just learn to say nice things about the honorable minister. That's all. Next time it's gonna be there.
Nani Kodana di. Abangeri.
No, I'm joking. What's your take, people? Bafana Bafana is playing on Thursday, 9 p.m. That's it. That feature is not moving. We can move and go around, but 9 p.m. kickoff. South Africa plays the opening game against Mexico.
Nadim, are we ready? From what we've seen, from the clip, from the stats, from this season this year alone? No, I don't think we are ready. I'm a bit worried as well, just like 10-10, but I'm gonna remain optimistic and hopeful on the fact that, look, man, Nadim, one thing about South Africa is that we a different breed in terms of talent compared to the rest of the world, and I believe in big stages like this, at times we tend to really, really surpass and surprise ourselves by really putting on a good show, So I'm gonna remain optimistic. I'm worried. I'm worried on the fact that if it's South Africa playing, then yeah, Lama Mexican or Shatre. But if it's Bafana playing on the day or on the night, I see us maybe, squeezing in and just maybe nipping it by 2-1, and shocking the world and shocking Mexico. So Mexicans have got a solid team, but I still believe that if we can just play our South African way, our Bafana way, singasabi. Ibheke ngokuthi yazini noma umuntu ingamla uphambi kwami. There's lento lezi akayiwani elifini. If I have to do a shibobo, whatever, and just get the team through, so be it. They must just fight and fight as Bafana is one nation. It's possible, yeah. But if we go there and be South Africa, and when I say South Africa, I mean sometimes we just tend to be very modest in terms of how we play, and you could see that in the AFCON. If we bring that performance to the World Cup, then sokupakisha amabhegi very, very early. Sizobablomela airport, and yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. You said if it's Bafana in South Africa, what is the difference there? I think I will not be doing justice if I don't ask there because even me, I don't understand.
The difference is when we play as South Africa, South Africa ilebe idlala i-AFCON, Nadim. I understand. We played so shallow. Yeah, it was like Asgard AFCON before, So, but then when we play Bafana, it's that South African team, that Bafana team, laba anytime. Uzoitola ne-2 ne-3. The team that played against Nigeria and during the World Cup qualifiers, that's Bafana. If we can bring those kind of performances to the World Cup or to this particular game actually on Thursday night, then like I said, I'll foresee us maybe winning 2-1.
Yeah, interesting game. It's gonna be a tough game. That is one thing guaranteed. Bafana have been having poor preparation. We can say it's been South Africa this year. It's not been Bafana, as people are saying. Guys, I nearly forgot because I think Orlando Pirates fans want to know, since you guys both play for Pirates, there's a video of Tito Maswanganyi, more like an altercation with the coach. Your reaction on that, gentlemen, starting with you people. I mean, is there the reaction? People are talking about it. Some feel the coach doesn't like Tito. Some feel like me, that Tito maybe his personality is a bit disrespectful from what I saw. obviously, I don't know. I was not in the dressing room. It's just like from far. I just feel like if you are my boss, a coach is usually your boss, but I've never been in a way like you, where you have a head coach in a dressing room in a heated game. But you guys have been there at Orlando Stadium many times in that dressing room. So there's nothing you don't know. What's your reading for that, people and 10-10?
Hey, Nadim, like I said, media, chaos. No, they're only going to show you what they want you to see. They're only going to put out there whatever agenda they're trying to push at the time. You know, I don't know. I don't think Tito has attitude problems per se. You know, footballers, we get emotional as footballers, especially Maudlal, and sometimes you feel like you're giving your all, and then the message you're getting maybe is a bit negative. You tend to react in a certain way. I understand. So, is there issues between Tito and the coach? I don't think so as well. But also, Nadim, I feel like as a coach, this is something that people don't really know. You're dealing with a lot of personalities every day. I'm a player every day as a attack, right, and that, and that, and that, and that. Now yourself at times you're dealing with a lot. Told us these things happen in football. They're still going to happen. Tito is not the first player that's going to have an altercation with the coach or whoever. Dallas and Zarat. Nami have done it, you know. A lot of players have done it before. And after as a player, you feel bad about it. Yeah, I want to know, but I feel like I could have handled it in a better way. And I'm sure that Tito on that day felt okay. Even though maybe Belafila Mati, he was giving his all, the coach was not happy. You reacting but who has maybe sharp. And yeah, I think that's my opinion on that.
Yeah, interesting. 10-10. What's your take on that video we saw? I'm sure you saw it. Tito, it looked like was really not happy. I don't think you can stage that unhappiness from his side and from the coach. I think they have to Mandla Ngilas and the other guys had to come in. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's been interesting that Orlando Pirates are trying to show this publicly, because previously we've seen players who played for Pirates like Tico Modise were hearing stories that he fought with Craig Rosley, and then he was told to go and train with other players who were not playing. Then he left, joined Sundowns. Then there was Lodge. Again, we're hearing stories that in the camp. Then there was Saleng again last season. And now there's Tito. I'm trying to combine it. I'm even asking myself, what is wrong with Orlando Pirates players, especially this one who get to win the major awards? It looks like maybe they get a bit big-headed, because historically, even Steve Lokolea, how he left Pirates again, they were more like... So it looks like these superstars at Pirates end up like thinking they're bigger than Orlando Pirates.
Nadim, I don't think that's a statement I would agree with, you know, because in my opinion, like football is a game of emotions. And as Upibo now has taken a step into coaching, I think he also understands. And if you're a coach that played the game, you should understand and know such moments, they do happen. And as a coach, you should not take it personal. You should take it at a mature stage, because you've already walked the journey, you know? Because sometimes the coach is fighting you because he wants the best and he knows you can deliver the best. But I don't think it's something that should be blown out of proportion, because the same Tito is the same Tito that ended up coming to play the last games, helping Orlando Pirates, scoring goals, assisting. Like I always say to people, before we are footballers, we are human beings, you know? The same emotion a person walking in the street has, I also have. The same reaction that a person can give, I can also give. So somehow, sometimes we deal with a lot of things. Uthola in that moment, you know as well, I'm struggling or I'm giving my best, or you feel as if like there's not enough support. And then the coach comes at you and then you snap, unawarely so, you know? But it's part of the game. That's what the game is all about. And I'm saying this because I've experienced such at Wits, and that's why I'm saying it's not a situation where you should only look at it.
So you fought with Coach Gavin at that?
No, it was not me. I'm not gonna mention who it happened, but there was an altercation that happened in the change room, and we were playing in Durban.
Okay.
We were playing in Durban. We traveled the same day. We were playing the same day because that's how we used to do things at Wits. Coach Gavin was not happy about the results, the performance, and he went on go Dylan Klassen, because that's when the time Dylan Klassen just came back from Belgium, or is it Netherlands? I'm not too sure. But there's a player that stepped in, and it was a heated thing that happened in that moment, but it was handled well. Just that it happened and it was not documented or there was no footage of it. But after that, Coach Gavin took it as a man, and probably he understood that this is
Yeah,
a game
but
of emotions.
why do you keep it a secret if it no longer exists and is not coming back? And why is it a secret? And it's
Okay,
not like
Nadim,
people at Vets will be angry at you.
okay, this is a situation that occurred, man. Nadim Silale Teben, and Coach Gavin was not happy about the performances and amongst everyone, but he was also not happy about Dylan Klassen, and and then that's when Steven Pinar stepped in. For that moment, it was heated and bottles were kicked. Coach Gavin Akwatile not kicking it at someone out of the frustration. But that's when you know and understand what we are human beings with different emotions. Sometimes a situation, I want to address it in a certain way. It's not received that way. And then somebody else reacts in a different way. But if you are experienced and mature enough, you understand what it was a thing that was happening in that moment. After that, everything was cooled off. Coach Gavin understood it. Steven Pinar understood. No one takes it to heart because this is a game of emotion and you are bound to react
But
in a way
after
that
that, end of the season, Steven Pinar left, right?
No, but Steven Pinar, he wanted to retire. He was tired at that time. He was like, nah. He actually wanted to come back and play SA to finish off his career, and he has done that. But the
So
relationship was not
he
broken.
didn't live. He didn't live because of that incident.
No, the relationship was not broken. I don't think the relationship was broken because Steven Pinar still went on. He was played, and and he had Manuel Grendel experience enough. He was guiding us. He was teaching us about certain things, how they do things, and he even said, "Would such moment they even happen even abroad." You a coach should not even take it personal. Do not personalize things. So as players, when a coach comes at you, he's not doing that because he does not like you, but he's doing that because he wants the best out of you. You shouldn't put it in head and think, "Oh, yeah, I mean, agantandi or in." You probably should learn. And from a lot of coaches that have coached me, I don't know with who people, but you'd often hear a lot of people saying when a coach does not really have much plans or is not interested in you, he does not talk to you. When a coach fights with you because he still sees that you are not giving the best that you should be giving, and he's trying to push you and push that best out of you. So we as human beings, I think that's the psychology we need to understand and learn. With moments like this are going to happen, and they have to happen there. They have to get dealt with them there, and probably find a way where you both can understand each other in explaining what when I'm saying this and how I said that, it was not coming out of malice, but it was coming out of a place where there is love, a place where I need to see improvement, a place where I know you can give me more.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting one. 10-10. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, football is like that, but I think this matter just had it has a lot of eyebrows. A lot of people are talking about it now. I think it's not over, honestly. As someone who's covered football for a while, I think Tito, since the coach is saying staying, I think coach might want Tito to leave Orlando Pirates because it's not the same incidents. There have been incidents where Tito fought with Kogi. It can't be one and the same players fighting with everyone. For me, I don't think that's normal. Reading it from far, I think the Tito is been frustrated that most of the games, even when he's starting, it's always been taken off. It's not really played a lot of matches. If you can talk about the always starting, a strong starting lineup doesn't involve Tito. When you see him, it's like we get shocked. You no longer expect him when you check the Pirates lineup. I don't know. I think it's gonna leave. One word, guys, before we wrap people in 10-10. Is Tito leaving Pirates according to you? Yes or no?
Nadim, he's not going anywhere. That's what he's still going to play. I think he's still very much part of the team, and he's in the plans. I'm 100% sure of that.
Plans of who? Plans of the coach or of the team?
I think both the team and the coach. I mean, if the coach sat down and said to contribute to our success this season, I'm sure the stats are there. And if stats were, I mean, you cannot defy the stats, So even if the coach doesn't want him, the stats are still going to say he needs to be there and the team needs him. So he's still going to be here next season.
Yeah, interesting. 10-10, what's your take? Do you think Tito will be there at Pirates next season?
Honestly, Nadim, I think Tito would still be there. He's been a very key factor. Yes, you look at the starting lineup, say Orlando Pirates, the season just ended. The strong, as you say, you don't see Tito there, you don't get shocked or in. But the same coach is the coach that went to Tito, bring him on as a sub, and he got the assists, he got the goals, and he ended up starting him. It says a lot, and you can see that he's still a key factor for Orlando Pirates. Considering the fact that Rile might leave, Apolis might leave. So you can't lose so many best players in one season and think you're going to defend so many trophies and want to add more.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, guys. That was our review. We just look at the Bafana squad that is playing tomorrow. We look at more like a preview. Yeah, I think it's going to be tough, but yeah, it's difficult to see hope there. But it's possible anything in football. And also look at the Pirates that have been released by Orlando Pirates. Yeah, Sipombule final this time is over at Pirates. One will feel he didn't take the opportunity that the chairman or the Pirates management gave him, because they give him a chance. I think he didn't take it. Only one season, then he's gone. Then you look at players like Mabasa. I think there were a lot of things about him. There was an offer in Tunisia. He rejected it because the church, they told him that no, he must stay here. So there are a lot of things with Mabasa. But obviously, wish him to get well, get team. Guys, it's been now a great one. We'll come back, maybe people who will be available in 10:10. After the game, Bafana at 11 p.m. on Thursday, just to give people a quick review and see how we saw the game.